week 8, and we're just about to get underway with our next match. We are into picks and bans right now. We have 40-ounce bounce on the blue team going up against Russ is looking for a date on the purple team. Joined alongside me is Fozzie D Bear.
Hello, happy to be here and so excited to watch this game today.
Yeah, we are seeing two brand new teams to this week. Russ is looking for a date was really strong yesterday. They won both of their matches. Plushy Mikey proved to be a force to be reckoned with in that mid lane. He played Lux and Syndra, and he was huge on them. I would definitely even go as far to say he carried his team. Not to say that his team did poorly, he just did extremely well. He did end up building Magi's on his Lux, and we are seeing the bans right now for 40-ounce bounce, and they're banning Lux and Syndra, two of the champions he did play yesterday.
You're seeing a lot of bans going out towards Plushy Mikey with the Luxindra because it is safe to say that that first game when he got the Mejai's on Lux, he was 11-1, he got 20 stacks. He pretty much carried his team and also allowed his team to get fed and just snowball out of control. And they also banned, I believe it's Kraylow's Vi, who won lane for almost everybody that first game we saw them in. And at the same time, I would also like to point out that Peas is the mid laner for 40 ounce bounce, who's also one of the strongest laners. So it's going to be great to see two great AP carries go at it.
Yeah, it's
Both bring a lot.
definitely a good point that you bring up Kraylol and his Vi. Yesterday, he was getting off some amazing ganks. He is one of the only junglers we've really seen in this tournament run exhaust. And when he was playing Vi, it was working wonders for him. He was able to get off those really early game ganks, secure kills for his laners, and get his team ahead. He played Vi in both matches, and the assault and battery with that Vault Breaker and the excessive force was huge. He was able to lock down his opponents and secure kills for his teams, and that's really what you want out of a jungler, and that's really what Russ is looking for a date wants out of Kraylol. So that vibe being banned out, we're gonna see something new from him.
Yeah, it's I believe I'm not sure if it's a Zach top yet or a Zach jungle. It could go both ways. But looking over at 40 ounce bounce, that's a standard top pick team they're going for. Not so much a lot of synergy within all of that, but you have Elise who's banned a lot, you have Shen who's banned a lot, and you have Blitz who's banned a lot in solo queue. So they're picking a lot of strong champions here.
Darcy and Russ is looking for a date, hovering over Heimerdinger and Poppy. Not so sure if these guys will get locked in. It would be nice to see Blitzcrank, Elise, and Shen right now for 40-ounce bounce. Leona and Zach being picked up, like you said, and Frosty switching over to that Ziggs. Plushy Mikey did mention actually he can play either mid or AD carry. So we did see him in mid in both of his games yesterday. But if it comes down to it, I'm sure his team could use him just as well in the AD carry position. But I'm really curious to see how this one will play out. Hadu there switching over to that Tristana. Tristana is a very strong champion. However, she does have that point in the mid game where she's not as useful as some other AD carries. So we'll definitely be interested to see how Hadu's going to be able to play around that.
Yeah, seeing Ziggs is a great pick if they do decide to go for that Zac jungle because you have a jungler who doesn't need blue. That's fantastic for Ziggs, who's probably one of the most blue dependent champions in the game. And it's going to be great. They have a lot of poke, and at the same time, they have great initiate. So that backline is going to be strong. And I'm also very excited to see Peas bring out the Ari again. He carried once with it. I think it's going to be a great time, and I think Plushy's going to have a harder time in mid because of it.
Yeah, Pease played an exceptionally strong Ari yesterday. He was definitely putting a scare on for the enemy mid laners, and his roam potential that came out through the early levels was huge. He was able to get his bottom lane ahead, and it really helped them in their victory against most disbands NA when they played them in the first round. So we are seeing the Master Yi getting locked in last for Russ is looking for a date. We're going to see the swaps come around here, and then we'll know for sure where everyone is going. Yeah, we are going to see Mikey on that Ziggs. He's going to have a lot of poke potential. So what I've really been noticing with the Russ is looking for a date team comps is they like to have a bit of everything. They like to have that long range poke, they like to have the initiate, and they also have a hyper carry on their team in Tristana. So and Master Yi for that matter. So they could be really strong at all stages of the game if they play this team comp properly.
Yeah, I think that Master Yi, because this is looking like Russ is looking for a day team comp. What Kraylol does on those 80 carries is he never really gets fed. He never really is like 10 and 0 by the end of the game. He gets his lanes fed. He gets them where they need to be, and then his team carries him. That's the kind of play style we see a lot out of him, where he gets those early kills for his lanes early, and it just helps them snowball. Because the lanes are going to win you the game, not how much farm you get in jungle, not how many dragons you take. But if Plushy Mikey has 10 kills, that's going to be fantastic. But Plushy's going to have a hard time versus a mobility champ like Ari at level 6.
Yeah, absolutely. If Peas is able to get out of those ways, out of the Qs coming out from Ziggs, which is I believe it's a skill shot nuke, it deals a lot of poke damage. So considering Ari is an assassin champion, she is relatively squishy through all stages of the game if she doesn't decide to build some defensive items. And that could be a lot of damage coming out from Plushy Mikey and Hadu Bayukarai, as well as Spy Wombat on Zac. We are going to see that Zac in the top lane, and most top lane Zacs do opt to go for a bit of damage, either from a Leandri's Torment, Rylai's Crystal Scepter, even some Sork Shoes. If he's able to lock down Peas with an Elastic Slingshot into a Let's Bounce, that could be a lot of damage coming down, but we do have to take into account the Spirit Rush from Peas. He's able to maneuver himself around a team fight and be able to escape some of that dangerous CC. If we do take a look though, Frosty is on Leona. A Solar Flare or a Zenith Blade could be huge. That could lock
Yeah,
him
yeah.
down long enough for the rest of Russ is looking for a date to be able to burst him down.
Yeah, and one of the things about Zach Top, Zach, just a little background history on that. Zach Top originated in Korea. In the OGN scene, we saw Zach being top almost every game, and I think he was the best bet is the Russian Abyssal Scepter. You have magic damage coming from every single character on 40-ounce bounce besides Caitlyn. And if he can get that Abyssal Scepter and he can get that Sunfire Cape fairly like his first two items, I think Zach will actually almost be able to carry the game by himself with how strong he'll be.
Yeah, absolutely. We are into the 3 minute delay, about 50 seconds here remaining. I'm really interested to see how Russ is looking for a date is going to play with this game. If or usually we are seeing Plushy Mikey get ahead early on and transition that into helping out his team. 40-ounce bounce is gonna want to look to camp Mikey in that mid lane. He is a terror. He is an exceptionally mechanically skilled player, and if he is not shut down, that could be huge for Russ is looking for data if he's able to get 1 or 2 kills early on and get himself a lead. So I definitely think with the Blitzcrank, they could look to do some roaming from that bottom to the mid lane and hopefully
Yeah,
pick up a kill. So it also with that Shen, Leighton on Shen, the Stand United can be very useful. If Plushy Mikey decides to go a bit too aggressive, that Stand United could come in and turn the fight around and hopefully pick them up a kill. Ziggs, however, does have some decent mobility with his, I believe it's his E. He's able to use that to jump over certain walls, and
yeah,
it can either be used as a gap closer or it can be used to get away. So I think this match is really going to come down to is Plushy Mikey going to be able to carry this game for his team?
absolutely. Plushy Mikey and P. So I think those are going to be the two because they both have been the MVPs almost every game where their team. So those are the two champs who I think we'll be looking at most because they have similar playstyles where Peas likes the roam, Mikey likes the roam. Ziggs is almost just like Lux, where every single move he has is a skill shot. So, and his ult's pretty much the same distance as Lux. I don't know if they nerfed it to not be a global or if it's still a global, but very similar kit, and I think it's whoever's going to get ahead first or whoever's going to get camp mids going to have the better time. Whoever gets a little bit ahead is going to have that roam potential that the other one's not.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the skin intimidation factor. We're seeing Death Blossom Elise, Arctic Warfare Caitlyn, Dynasty Ari, and Blood Moon Shen coming out from 40 ounce bounce. Mad Scientist Ziggs, Rocket Girl Tristana, Iron Solari Leona, and Headhunter Master Yi for Russ's looking for dates. So 4 skins from both sides of the teams. However, Rocket Girl Tristana, that can count as 1.2. I really like that skin.
It's very nice. It's a little extra little skin, you know? Very nice. But they do have the Arctic bonus coming out of 40 ounce bounce with the Arctic Caitlyn and the Ice. So you have that going for the other team.
Yeah, that's very true. We are into the game right now. Taking a look at the items real quick, we are seeing the AD carries both start out with the Doran's Blade. Both supports opting to go for the all ward starts, which is usually what you'll see out of 5v5 play, because they want to be a bit more coordinated. They want to use those wards to protect themselves from early invades and also set them up for themselves. So that's what we're seeing out of the supports. Top laners right now, Rejuve Bead, Ward, and Potts coming out from Leighton on Shen. Boots and Potts coming out from Spy Wombat on Zac in that top lane. And both junglers are starting the original Hunter's Machete 5 potions.
Yeah, I really like the wards coming out of 40 ounce bounce. Shen actually grabbed 2 wards, which is something that you don't see a lot coming out of a top laner. He, instead of getting that extra rejuve bead, he just decided to get an extra ward. Let's get that vision so we can invade. And that's what Fives is about. It's about sacrificing a little bit of yourself to better your team. And I think that's great play on his part.
Yeah, we are seeing 40 ounce bounce right now roaming into the jungle if Russ is looking for a date. They're grouped up as 5 right now, whereas Russ is looking for a date isn't quite. They are going to get spotted on that ward though. So they're going to pink it, clear that out, and it looks like they're going to be stealing away. No, they're just going to back out of that one.
Yeah, both teams are trying to decide what they want to do here. Because if Russ is looking for a date goes, let's go counter their red, that's going to work out great in their favor because 40 ounce is leaving, and they're not going to their red right away. So, but it looks like both teams are just playing it safe at blue.
First thing I really have to notice right here is we're seeing a lane swap. Jeffrey and Big Sean right now going into that mid lane. Caitlyn and Blitz, they're gonna look to shut down Plushy Mikey with this. They do have some decent range to them with Caitlyn and the Blitzcrank going to be able to use that rocket grab. However, we do have to look at Plushy Mikey is on Ziggs, a long range champion. If he's able to use his Q, which I'm not quite sure what it's called right away. If he's able to use that bouncing bomb,
Yeah.
he's going to be able to farm up well. He will run relatively quickly though if that's going to be his only way to farm up. But I'm going to assume that Kraylol is going to try to give him some support, hopefully net themselves an early kill.
Yeah, and as you see, they're using that ward they placed down at red to try to catch out Elise. Well, catch out Yi with Elise. But Yi is playing, Kraylol is playing very safe. But they probably noticed that Blitz left. They think he might just give up his red buff.
Yeah, right now we're seeing Smoothacris and Big Sean there going to... Oh, they aren't going to take it right away. They actually are just going to keep roaming around in that jungle there. They do have a pink on it, so they know it's not... They know it's not warded. However, they're not 100% sure that there isn't any other ward, so they really want to be careful about this. If they were to get jumped by Spy Wombat on Zac or Plushy Mike or even Kraylol, that could really turn around the early pressure that 40 ounce bounce is looking to put on here. We are seeing Smoothacus getting dropped really low with the flash coming out from Kraylol, and the directed camera just took me away from that one, but Smoothacris was able to use that flash to get away. And the aggression right now from 40 ounce bounce is good. They have the right idea to try and get that aggression down onto Russ is looking for a date very early on. However, it's being played really well by Russ is looking for a date to be able to shut them down right here. And a flash being burned from Smoothacris, he's going to have to be a bit more careful when he wants to roam into the jungle if Russ is looking for a date.
Yeah, Master Yi, with this recent buff being a very strong pick, he's really only a strong pick, like I said, and I'll bring it back because I said it yesterday. He's really only a strong pick in solo queue because you don't get that 5-man roam potential coming to your jungle a lot. So he can just farm in his jungle, he can hit 6, and then he could be that monster that he wants to be. But if you shut down Yi's early game, you don't have to worry about him coming in the lane and winning it for him because he's not going to have any slows, he's not going to have any form of CC. He uses flash. He's pretty much just a melee minion at this point. So he's level 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to keep a close eye, though, on this mid lane. Big Sean and Jeffrey on Caitlyn and Blitzcrank going up against Plushy Mikey. So what they really want to do with this is they want to put down that early pressure. That's why they do have a very aggressive support in Blitzcrank and a very high damage early game AD carry in Caitlyn. She's able to get a lot of poke damage down with that Piltover Peacemaker, as well as their auto attack. She has 650 range, I believe, and she's able to keep the distance on Plushy Mikey, and she's going to want to deny him of CS and levels, and hopefully give the rest of his laners a chance to farm up. However, something we aren't usually used to seeing is the AP casters in that top lane. Ooh, and a rocket grab just barely missing in that top lane. Plushy Mikey taking lots of damage. Down in the bottom lane, though, we are seeing Hadu and Frosty being a bit aggressive. The Shadow Dash landing on from late in there. Hadu's going to have to rocket jump away, and the exhaust being used on the Smoothacris there. No kill's going to come out of that one. Summoner Spell was burned there from Frosty. And right now we are seeing Smoothacris just sticking around in that bottom lane.
Yeah, I want to talk about this lane swap we're seeing here because it's really because it would 40-ounce bounce initiate the lane swap, but at the same time, Russ is looking for a date has the same push potential, and they're versing a Shen. They're not versing.
Meanwhile, on top lane, we are seeing the elastic slingshot go down. P's forced to flash away. The ignite is ticking on him. The unstable matter is going to be used there. Peas is dropping really low. He's going to drop the ignite onto Wombat and get away from that one.
Beautiful play by Peas. Again, just there's the Yi gank I was talking about. He was able to do some damage, but there's not much else he can do. And if he would have had red buff or if he would have had his flash up, they could have secured that first blood top, but see, it just works out.
We are seeing some CS differences right now coming out from the two usual AD carries. Jeffrey Ham right now on Caitlyn sitting on 56 CS. Hadu Bayukarai has 47 on Tristana rather. So right now Jeffrey is farming a bit better. However, we have to take into account that both these AD carries are in a 2v1 lane, so it's really not going to be judged by the poke that could come out from these laners if they were in their usual lanes. So right now, Jeffrey Ham's still sitting on that Dorm's Blade. He hasn't gone back yet, and like we said earlier, they want to keep up this early pressure on Mikey. And Mikey does have a Chalice of Harmony right now to grant him some extra mana regen. The magic resist isn't going to help him all that much, but the regen is really what he wants that for. He's going to want to be able to spam those bombs on his Q, the bouncing bombs. And we see Ace in the Hole going down in that mid lane. Not too much coming out of this game. An overall relatively safe game right now coming out from both teams.
Yeah, and with the junglers going out here, even with that red buff steal, we still see Master Yi with our Kraylo with almost 20 more CS than what Smoothacris has. And there's the first tower picked up. So I want to see 40 ounces bounce reasoning behind this duo lane mid.
Yeah, right now, Russ LFD, it does have a bit of a gold advantage, sitting on about 700 gold ahead of 40-ounce bounce. However, they are being granted some great map vision with that first turret being down. They could look to transition this into a dragon if they wanted to, and with towers down, it can be huge because the teams aren't gonna have vision in that area, and the overall control of the map won't be in their favor for for the specific part of the map, whether it be top, mid, or bottom. The real tower you want to get down if you're looking to get more map pressure and presence all around is that mid tower.
Uh,
But right now,
and I would also point out with Shen being bot lane, Russ is looking for a date does have dragon control because it's not like 40-ounce bounce can turn it into a 5v4. It would just be a regular 4v4 because Ari's still top if they do decide to go for dragon. And it's a fight they should look to try to get with the amount of early game damage that Master Yi and Ziggs can bring out.
yeah, that's a good point you bring up. If we take a look at it here real quick, we are seeing a lane swap coming out from Russ LFD. Plushie Mikey heading over to that top lane, and Hadu Bayukarai and Frosty going to that mid lane. So I guess we could say the same lane matchups in a different part of the map, but we are seeing those two casters up in that top lane. And right now, Peas on Ari is ahead of Plushie Mikey. He has a level advantage as well as a CS advantage. And at this point in the game, Mikey hasn't really been able to do anything.
Yeah, it looks. I still don't know if Ziggs has that global map presence with his ult, because if so, he'd be the only person in the game with a global ult that's not Shen, of course. So I'm still not sure if he can ult Dragon from that far away.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. We are seeing Spirit Rush go down. The flash coming from Kralo. Stand United being used on a piece there. Mikey gonna use that Mega Inferno Bomb. Gonna miss. But Kralo's getting dropped really low. Peas is ignited here. But Mikey is gonna try and use that Satchel Charge. Not gonna be able to get a kill though. First blood going down to Peas on Ari. Able to pick up a kill onto Kralo. And then we saw Leighton picking up a kill onto Mikey there. So 2-0 right now for 40-ounce bounce. And we are seeing the edge. Oh, the rocket grab laying on the Hadu Bukurai. The solar flare going down. Smoothicris is taking the tower shots. He's going to get dropped really low. Going to use that repel. And he's going to get away from that one. So 3 kills right there going down for 40-ounce bounce. And they're putting a lot of pressure down in this mid lane turret.
That was the mobility I love to see coming out of Peas on Ari. They threw the Ziggs ult down, and he was just able to Spirit Rush right out of it, as if it was like, nope, you used your ult, I still have 3 more of mine. And he was able to use it once more, and because of that, he was able to not take as much damage, which is great.
Spirit Rush is essentially 3 flashes that can be used aggressively or defensively, or however Peas really wants to use them. So it was really well played in that situation for him to be able to dodge that Mega Inferno Bomb. And right now we are seeing Russ LFD, they have to play a bit more defensive now. They don't have that gold lead, the little bit of gold lead that they did have when they took down that first bottom turret. But now that 40-ounce bounce did manage to pick up a turret, they have some decent vision around Dragon right now with that pink ward clearing out the ward from Russ LFD. And the bot lane in the mid lane is going to be able to provide a bit more roam potential if they either want to go top. And we are seeing Tron lane down the Frosty here. Exhaust being popped down on the Peas. Elastic Slingshot not quite hitting it. Stretching Strike going to be used. It's not going to be quite enough. Peas going to be able to pick up that kill onto Frosty.
Yeah, everyone on 40-ounce bounce has a lead right now, because everyone on 40-ounce bounce is winning in farm besides the junglers. And even Blitzcrank has a kill, which technically would put him above the 9 CS Leona has. So it's looking really good for 40-ounce bounce, and they should be able to pick up this dragon with Shen top now.
Yeah, the 40-ounce bounce does have vision of Plushie Mike right there. The Mega Inferno Bomb going down, not quite able to pick up the kill. And the dragon gets stolen away. Spy Wombat jumping in the middle of the fight there. He's able to pick up a kill on Smoothicris. Teleport coming in from Leighton. Big Sean gonna drop down there to Hadu Barukurai. Kralo's gonna switch his focus to Leighton there. Jeffrey at the back line is gonna use that 90 caliber net to get out of there. Hadu Barukurai 1v1 with Leighton right there. Peas is gonna be the next one to drop. Spy Wombat gonna use that elastic slingshot to get into the fight. And Leighton is gonna be the next one to drop. Kralo does spot Jeffrey Ham there. Ooh, that peeled over Peacemaker. Almost landed on Hadu Barukurai there. Great fight by Russ LFD. They have even the gold lead right now.
That fight was fantastic. The panic smite coming out of Smoot allowed Ziggs to just throw one Q at it and take it. There was no ult on Ari. There was no stand united. It was just an overall great fight for Russ is looking for a date with that AoE damage they were looking for.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring that up. There was actually no Stand United used in that fight. Leighton, I'm not sure if it was on cooldown, but Leighton
It was
did.
on cooldown.
Yeah,
He
Leighton.
teleported in instead.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't able to grant his team the shield that comes out of Stand United, so that could have really helped them when Russ LFD picked that fight. And all in all, that was a great communication coming out from. They said, "Hey, look, they're pretty low. I can seal away Dragon because Smoothicrus did burn his smite rather a bit early on. So
Yeah.
that's one thing you really have to be careful as a jungler. That if you do blow your smite early, or if you miss it, then the enemy team has that window of opportunity where they could look to steal that objective away."
Yeah, and something a lot of junglers talk about is that sometimes it happens. Like you don't have you can't really look at the HP in the middle of a fight. You can't just be like, "Oh, let me just count down here and wait while you're trying to fight for other people." So, it was a little bad luck because it only had around 50 HP to 100 HP left. But because of it, Russ took the dragon and Russ took 4 kills, and now you have to deal with a Master Yi who was with 3 kills that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Kraylol right now on Master Yi, he has a Wriggles Lantern completed as well as the Brutalizer, and he's 3-1-1. So at this point in the game, gonna take a look real quick how much gold he has. He is sitting on 4,500 total gold. He's amongst the top in the game. He is by no means ahead of anyone. We are seeing in the top lane, though, Kraylol going a bit aggressive here onto Leighton. He did have to use Shadow Dash. He's not going to have that up for another 10 seconds. Using that feint to grant him a little bit of shield. Leighton is really tanky right here. Rocket Grab landing in that middle lane. Solar Slayer landing onto 2 members. Not going to quite able to get the stun onto Peas, however. And he's able to deal lots of damage for Smoothicrus to pick up that kill. So we are going to see 40-ounce bounce right here. Just look to push down in that mid lane. And Jeffrey Ham going to proxy farm that bottom lane, hoping to deny some of the CS away from Russ LFD.
Yeah. And the build coming out after on Master Yi here is a little it's different. Rushing a Wriggles Lantern is sort of I think it was because he wasn't able to get a lot of lane ganks. He rushed a Wriggle so he could at least farm faster. But now that he's got those 3 kills, he's essentially the strongest person on Russ is looking for a date. So I think he might be going for that Ghost Blade next with that Brutalizer for that extra speed in gank lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yuma's Ghost Blade actually becoming a very popular item recently on those auto attack heavy bruiser type champions or even carry champions like Master Yi or Tryndamere. So Kraylol might look to build into that. If he's able to get 2 or 3 more items onto that Master Yi, he is going to be huge for Russ LFD here. It's going to be up to 40-ounce bounce to try and shut him down before he becomes a terror. And we did talk quite a bit about how the supports in 5v5 play love to go for those 15-minute oracles, and we're seeing that at a Big Sean on Blitzcrank. He picked up that oracle's elixir, and he's going to be able to clear out some of the map vision that Russ LFD is putting out right here, and it could be huge for them when they do decide to push onto towers.
Yeah, and with Master Yi and how he's very strong pick right now, I think we're going to still see the split push coming out of Master Yi. If you're going to have Shen top, Master Yi can easily 1v1 Shen. That's a fact. And I think we're going to see him just shoving top a lot of this game if it gets to the point where Russ can't team fight, depending on how they play this out.
Yeah, absolutely. Leighton right here on Shen is split pushing at the moment in that top lane. He's sitting at about 100 farm. We're going to see Peace coming in from the back line there, using that Spirit Rush out to Mikey. Solar Slayer not quite there. He's going to use a Satchel Charge to get away. Stand United going down on the Peace there. The Charm landing onto Frosty there. Wombats in the middle of that fight. The Zenith Blade going. Mega Inferno Bomb landing across 4 members of 40-ounce bounce right there. Hadu Bakurai gonna go a bit aggressive here, but we are seeing Kraylol. He is still a full health Master Yi. Charm did land onto Hadu, but not gonna come to no avail there. Leighton is gonna be the next target. Explosive shot being used. Hadu Bakurai gonna use that rocket shove to get in to get a little bit of more damage down. Kraylol gonna secure that kill. Three members rather, of 40 ounce bounce going down, and none for Russ LFD.
That's these fights are going back and forth, and it's fantastic. But this fight in particular. They got 3 for nothing, and they just got 2 mid towers, which is going to give them almost complete map control once they get that top outer turret. So very good fight for Russ.
Yeah, right now it looks like Russ are just going to look to push their advantage. They are relatively low, and 40 ounce bounce is making the call to try and pull something off here. Peace doesn't have that spirit rush available. He doesn't have flash either, so he's not gonna be able to come get anything out of that. But it could have been pretty devastating if 40 ounce bounce was able to get there a bit quicker. But Peace, however, it does look like he's gonna steal away that blue buff for himself. So coming out of that, ooh, ace in the hole, first of all, landing down on Plushy Mikey, the cocoon going down, the rocket grab, Mikey's able to flash just in time, he's not going to be able to get away with that one, Frosty's going to be the next one to drop from Jeffrey, and that was simply Russ LFD just being a bit too out of position.
They were overstaying the welcome a lot. Taking the dragon was risky in itself, but trying to contest a blue buff, it's like, okay, they're all up, they all rush the dragon, we need to get out of here. But sticking around was very risky for their part, and they paid for it, but they did clear a 4K gold lead that they were losing.
Yeah, that's very true. So 40 ounce bounce is going to pick up this tier 2 mid tower, increase their gold lead to about 1K at this point. And we're 20 minutes in, that's not a big deal. Rocket Grab landing onto Frosty there. He is going to get melted by 40 ounce bounce. That's a kill going down to Smooderchris.
This game's really going back and forth here, and it's making it very exciting with these, and just with these grabs, they were able to take the same turret, and now they're taking even more turrets. So that lead they had, they just lost almost in an instant.
Yeah, the back and forth game right now, this is really what I like to see out of these games. It's really exciting play, back and forth action. Mikey's just going to toss down a bouncing bomb. Not going to get too much out of that. Peace does have that blue buff that he did manage to steal away from Russ LFD, so that's going to help him quite a bit when it comes to farming. We are seeing Leighton on Shen, however, using that teleport to get into the top lane, so he's not going to have that if he wants to teleport onto a ward during a fight. We still does have that stand united though, so that's not really a cooldown that he's afraid to use up to get back into lane to try and get that farm.
Now they did banned Nocturne against Smooderchris because 40 ounce bounce loves going for that lot of global presence with the Shen, with the Ahri, and even with Elise. Is still a very mobile champ, getting that bonus movement speed from her spider form, Repel being able to see over walls, and this is the 40 ounce bounce that we've seen almost every game, and it's working out great for them.
Yeah, right now we are seeing Smooderchris right now on Elise. He did build that Spirit of the Ancient Golem. He is sitting on a needlessly large rod also, so he is going to be doing some decent damage in those fights, whether he decides to try and peel off the tanks from his carries, or if he's going to look to assassinate onto Plushy Mikey or Hadu Barukurai. So I'm really interested to see how these team fights are going to go. Like we always say, it's really going to come down to positioning and basically using their team comp and their champions to its full advantage. They're going to want Plushy Mikey to try and poke down as much as they can before a fight starts. And then they're going to want to look to hard engage with that Elastic Slingshot, with the Zenith Blade. And as I say that, Smooderchris getting a bit caught out. He's going to switch to Spider Form to try and get away. Spy Wombat charging up. The Solar Flare landing down there. Smooderchris is going to use that Repel. The Mega Inferno Bomb not quite able to hit him. Smooderchris getting dropped low. The Flash from Frosty. Going to be able to get that Shield of Jaybreak. The Stand United is going to be used. Leighton's going to be able to join that fight. Kraylol will drop to Jeffrey there. Shadow Dash landing across 3 members. And Plushy Mikey going to try to get as much damage in that backline as he can. Hadu Barukurai gonna get dropped by the backing motion of that Orb of Deception, and Plushy Mikey gonna try to do as much as he can. He is getting a bit zoned out here. Gonna stand on that trap there, but he's gonna be able to pick up Leighton there before he does go down. So 5 for 3 right there for 40 ounce bounce.
They blew everything trying to kill the Elias, who repelled the Zac ult, who repelled the I'm not a big Ziggs player, but the
Mega Inferno Bomb.
Mega Inferno Bomb. So that some of their two biggest AoE damages were gone for nothing. So it was a very bad fight for Russ. After they should have tried to disengage after they used two of their biggest ultimates in that fight.
Taking a look at the gold lead here real quick. 3,600 or 36,000 gold rather coming out for 40 ounce bounce, and then 32.4 thousand for Russ LFD. So it's about a 3.5k gold lead for 40 ounce bounce. However, I still look at this game as being really close. There isn't too many item differences. We are seeing Jeffrey on Caitlyn right now. He has an Infinity Edge completed, a Phantom Dancer also, and he might be looking to get a Last Whisper right now. Hadu Barukurai, however, does only have a Blade of the Ruin King, and it looks like he might be building into a Infinity Edge, I believe, with that BF Sword. But he's also sitting on that dagger, so he's gonna have a little bit of extra attack speed for that. He could choose to build that into either a Phantom Dancer, a Static Shiv, or even a Zephyr if he really wanted to. If he wanted to get some tenacity there to try and, if he does end up getting caught by a Shadow Dash or a Charm. So Big Sean picking up another Oracles. Right now he has no major items completed besides that sight or the Ruby Sightstone. He does have a Doran Shield and a Rejuve Bead and those Boots of Mobility. So he's really looking right now just to get that vision for his team. He's not looking to really bring out any of those aura items right now. Frosty, however, on Russ LFD, he's building into a Aegis of the Legion, then eventually a Locket of the Iron Solari. So he's going to be providing some magic resistances for his team.
I think we're looking at a fight Dragon, but I think the biggest factor in these fights will be the Caitlyn and Tristana, because Caitlyn is a full 2k over Tristana. And it looks like Blitz is also going for a pull here, and if he can land it, it'd be a great fight.
Mikey actually taking a lot of damage before this fight even starts. He has their main source of AP damage right here, and if he's going to have to recall, yeah, it looks like he is actually going to have to recall. That's going to be a dragon being given over to 40 ounce bounce.
Great trap placements coming up from Caitlyn. If they step on a trap, they can get charmed, they can get cocooned, they can get pulled, they can get taunted. There's a lot of CC coming out from 40 ounce bounce here.
If we take a look at the ward coverage really quick, we see that 40 ounce bounce did use quite a bit of wards to ward up that dragon area. They really wanted to get that so they could increase their gold lead any way they could. So it really worked out in their favor because they had full vision of Russ LFD in that last fight. Or in that last little skirmish, rather.
So, yeah, and Blitzcrank Big Sean grabbing the Oracles is going to give him even more map control.
So we are seeing right now 40 ounce bounce looking to push down this tier 2 top turret. Plus Mikey does have a blue buff, so if he wants to poke, he's really free to throw those bouncing bombs as much as he wants to and try to get a bit of poke damage out before the fight starts. He does have a Athene's Unholy Grail right now, so he's going to have that cooldown reduction as well as some magic resist, mana regen, and also mana regen on kill. He gets 12% of his maximum mana every time he gets a kill or assist. So that could really help him in fights if he does end up dropping really low. But the blue buff will help him quite a bit to sustain up for that. And he is also sitting on a needlessly large rod and a blasting wand. So he could look to build that into a Rabadon's death cap, which would increase his damage by quite a bit.
Yeah, and even with the almost one item up on where's his name? On Plushy Mikey, they still have the same AP, and Plushy Mikey is going to have an AP lead once he gets that Rabadon, because he's going for a lot more hard, just burst, just kill him, where you see a lot more single target damage coming out from Pius.
Yeah, Pius did opt to go for that Deathfire Grasp. He's going to have that active to be able to amplify all his magic damage by 20%. So that's really going to be huge for him when he goes to assassinate either Plushy Mikey or Hadu Barukurai, or honestly anyone on the team for this matter. He's he's gonna want to look to get the carries for sure, but he's really strong right now to where he could do lots of damage even to the frontline tanks of Spy Wombat, Frosty, or even Kraylol when he does dive in to the backline to try and assassinate either Jeffrey or Peace. So it's this. I really feel these team fights are gonna come down to positioning, and most of the time that's really what they do come down to. So it's really I'm really interested to see how this will play out.
It's still in the stage where even though there's a 6k gold lead, either team can still take the fight. The strongest to fight, well, someone who has the more gold to just be Caitlyn. Has 100 CS on Tristana, who has 3 more kills. And so Caitlyn's going to be the deciding factor if 40 ounce bounce wants to take a fight. Jeffrey's going to be doing the most damage here.
So right now we are seeing 40 ounce bounce actually just patrolling around the jungle of Russ LFD. They do have that Oracle, so if they're going to be spotted on any wards, they will know of that. Spy Wombat did opt to pick up an Oracle's Elixir for his team also. 30 minutes into the game, he only has 88 CS. That is really not the position he wants to be. He only has a Spirit Visage right now. But he also has a Blasting Wand to grant a little bit extra damage there. And 40 ounce bounce is going for that Baron right there. Agent Hole landing onto Mikey. Rocket grab going on to Frosty right here. He does have Flash available. He's gonna use that. Spy Wombat. Oh, he's not gonna engage on that one.
It would have been a very risky fight with Stand United up and them not having Kraywall with them. It would have just been a horrible fight for them. And look, and Peace goes in to pick up Plushy Mikey.
Plushy Mikey's getting dropped really low. There's Spy Wombat gonna get Rocket Grab in. His Stealth Division passive will pop, and that surely will fall. Jeffrey Ham picking up that kill for himself right there. So now 40 ounce bounce with that Baron buff. They are about 8,000 gold ahead. So they're going to want to push their advantage while they have it. And they're pinging right now to pick up that tier 2 top tower. There's not really much that Russ LFD can do at this point.
Absolutely. And it's really even, and then you still have Jeffrey picking up the kills, getting even stronger. So in this late game, the 80 carries getting fed, and that's what you want, and that's what's going to win you that game. And they almost have a 10k gold lead now after picking up Baron.
And a rocket grab landing under Haduburukai there. Kraylor gonna try to finish off Jeffrey. Not quite. Sand United being used there. Mikey's gonna be the next one to fall. P's just diving into their base right there. He's gonna be taking some turret shots, however. He is gonna manage to stay in life. Tossing out a charm. Not gonna quite hit anyone there. But Spy Wombat going a bit aggressive. He's going to take a lot of damage, actually, from Jeffrey on Caitlyn. He does have a Last Whisper, so he's going to be able to get through any of the armor that Spy Wombat does have. So a Cocoon landing on the Frosty right here. Everything else is just going to explode on Spy Wombat. There's nothing he can do at this point. And 40 ounce bounce is going to look to end
Looks
this
like
game
they can
right
take
here.
it. You have Tristana coming up soon, but I don't think that Hydua will be able to stop them, so it looks like it's going to 40 ounce bounce. I'd also like to point out that Big Sean got a great ultimate stopping Zach from going back to base.
Yeah, that's very true. So we are seeing 40 ounce bounce picking up the win here against Russ LFD. And they will be moving on to the finals of Week 8 of the League of Legends Amateur Open. So good luck to them. Russ LFD will be dropping down to the lowers bracket finals, where they will have one more shot at getting back into it to try and get their revenge on 40 ounce bounce. So we're going to take a short break, then we're going to get right back underway with our next game. Thanks everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.